back in October 2023, Apple announced the M3 line of computers. But the most interesting part of the announcement was that the entire announcement video was filmed on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The aerial drone shots, to Tim Cook's talking heads, the B-roll of people using these computers in their perfectly lit homes or a stage of a home, all filmed on iPhone in the new Apple Log format. If it wasn't rendered on a computer, it was filmed on iPhone. Apple released a promo video shortly thereafter explaining how the iPhone fit into their expensive workflow, replacing the Arri Alexa LF cameras that they usually use. But that's the thing, they still used the giant dollies, stabilizing gimbals, lighting rigs, octo rotor copters, and LED walls to make the announcement video. And it's cool to know that the iPhone can slot into those kinds of productions, but I want to know how an iPhone performs on a production that has a budget of more like $1,000 instead of $1 million. Luckily, I was talking to my cousin Matt, who's an optometrist up in Merced, about how he wants to make a new video for his website to show what it's like to get a checkup and glasses. We made a video like this last year, and now we're just gonna update it. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to use my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So what equipment am I going to use beyond my iPhone? I'm going to put it in a cage. The cage allows me to put the tripod plate on it, protect the phone, and also mount other things like my SSD. I got this one from Newer because not only does it have stuff that all the other cages have, it also had an attachment that allows me to add kind of standard threaded filters. This is a 67 millimeter thread, and I could use some of the filters I already had, but I also wanted to try their specific variable ND filter. An ND filter is nice because it'll allow me to keep my shutter speed at 180 degrees to keep motion blur looking pretty natural, and it will hopefully hide the fact that this was shot on iPhone to everybody else. I've got my SSD here. I can record directly to the SSD from both the standard camera app or the Blackmagic camera app, which is what I want to do because I want to lock in my shutter speed. Now, I'm probably going to do most of this handheld, but I don't want to just handhold this cage. So I'm probably going to use this Manfrotto Fig Rig. I don't like gimbals. I can make a whole video about why I don't like gimbals, but the Fig Rig is nice because it helps me get my hands away from the phone. Passive stabilization like this, the main goal is to get your hand away from the sensor and away from the lens. The further I can get my hands from the sensor lens, the more stable it's going to be. I am also going to keep on the standard stabilization. That's just the like in-body image stabilization that comes in the lenses and the sensors. So that should keep me steady enough. Another thing you could use if you're making an iPhone video is the Poor Man Steadicam. There's a website on how to build this. It's been online since like 2005 or something. These instructions are basically how to make a counterweight. You can mount your camera up here, have two places to hold on to it, and then a little weight on the bottom to kind of cancel out movement. I'll bring this along too. We'll see how I like using either the Fig Rig or the Poor Man Steadicam. I built one of these a long time ago. I did buy a kit from them, from the website, which was nice because it had the quarter 20 thread built into one of these pipes. I have replaced a couple pieces over the years, but you can build one pretty easy. I'm just not that good at making stuff on my own. The Fig Rig, sadly Manfrotto does not make these anymore. You can find them on eBay for about $100 if you still can. This is a fun tool. Basically, the entirety of the movie The Raid was filmed with the camera on a Fig Rig. For indoor lighting, I'm going to use, where did I put it? I'm going to use my Aperture 60X. I could put a softbox on this thing, but I'm probably just gonna put it in flood mode and then just bounce it off of the white walls in the doctor's office, in my cousin's office, just to kind of add a little bit more fill. Just bring up the levels in the room. I'm gonna use this one because I can run it off of NPF batteries, which is very nice. I can run it for about an hour on batteries and just move the stand around room to room. And that should be enough. I'll bring a second set of batteries, but I'm pretty sure I can just run it for 1 hour. We'll be in and out. And for sound, if I needed sound, I'd probably just use my Rode Wireless Pros. I really like these microphones. I want to make another video about them. I did an unboxing video and a first impressions, but I want to make a deeper dive in how I use these little microphones because I use them in a pretty broad way, and I really, really like them. This is a Crucial X6 SSD. You may notice I did put a MagSafe sticker on here. I bought this pack of MagSafe mounting things. You meant to stick this on a wall or something so people that like put it in your shower in your kitchen, you could stick your phone on the wall. But you'll notice I set this up before I got the cage, and with the filtration, the SSD just doesn't fit on there very well. So I have this small rig mount that I usually use to mount battery banks to my R5C, but instead I will be using it to mount my SSD to my iPhone. Why do this? I don't know. I got my first MacBook in 2007, and I loved the fact that it came with GarageBand and iMovie and iPhoto, RIP iPhoto, and I could just have this computer that I could make cool stuff and learn. I miss that kind of scrappy attitude about Apple, and I want to prove that the iPhone Pro with Apple Log is, you know, that kind of tool. Not necessarily a tool where you have to have a huge budget to make a video. Now, I am showing you like other things you have to buy. The SSD is $100, the Fig Rig is $100, the cage and the variable ND is like $75. This Lowe system is $400. But with just these handful of tools, I'm hoping I can make something that is just as impressive as something with my R5C or C70. I will probably still bring my C70 just to be able to do a comparison between the iPhone and the C70, and to have it as a backup in case things aren't going well with the iPhone. But my hope is that this can be the tool. If someone doesn't have, you know, $4,000 to spend on a nice camera and all the accessories, the tripod, the stabilization, the lights, all of this stuff, they could at least get started with their iPhone and still have something that looks really good quality. Anyways, I'm gonna pack all this stuff up and I'll see you tomorrow in Merced. Made it to Merced, had lunch, and now I'm actually gonna get my eyes checked before we make this little video. Okay, got the iPhone rig on the Fig Rig, got the C70, it's black balancing. I'm gonna put the 10 to 18 on here. I meant to bring the 16 to 35, but I forgot it. But this does have image stabilization, which is nice. And I've got the 70 to 200, but I don't think I'm gonna use that for this.
Three days later.
Okay, back home, and that didn't go exactly how I planned. Nothing to the fault of the iPhone or the camera. It was just, we got started a little late. My whole family came, we all got our eyes checked, and it took a little bit longer than I anticipated. Brandon had to get some like contact swaps, so we got started late and then we didn't even get to finish. And then the next day I got sick, like my voice doesn't sound this, my voice is still coming back. Started with Lauren got a sore throat, and then the next day I was just late. So the last 2 days I've been laid out in bed, but I did just edit the footage that I did get, so let's check that out now. Honestly, I'm super surprised how well those videos match up. I think color-wise, especially having brought a chip chart and being able to dial in my colors, it was really good. I've heard people say that the Apple Log is kind of closer to S-Log 3 than it is C-Log 2, but it's nice and flat, but still retaining a ton of color information, especially when recording in ProRes. I can't remember if I said this earlier, but I recorded in ProRes Lite in the Blackmagic app. I find ProRes Lite's kind of the best balance for detail and quality, but ProRes and ProRes HQ are kind of overkill and eat up a lot of data. With ProRes Lite, I can still record in camera, although I did record directly to this SSD. I could record in camera and I'd still have plenty of time. So if I didn't have the SSD with me, I could record in ProRes Lite and still get a fair amount of quality and detail, but not like 700 megabits per second. And while the Blackmagic app does allow me to record Apple Log into H.265, I do find that to be a little bit more mushy, and I kind of just save that for when I'm making like Reels and TikToks. I showed these side by side to Lauren, and I didn't show her which was which clip. I didn't have the little descriptors on the bottom, and she did guess correctly, but she did kind of have to guess at which one was the C70 and which one was the iPhone. So am I going to be using the iPhone as my primary camera? Am I going to sell my C70, my R5C, and my R6 Mark II? No. I'm going to have the iPhone as a tool. It'll probably be a great BTS camera. It's going to be a great camera for just another angle. If someone asks, oh, can we get one more angle on this? It'll be there, it'll be ready. And I think it'll be super cool to kind of challenge myself to make things with my iPhone, maybe doing another short film with just the iPhone. My friends used to run a short film contest called The Germ, and like every third or fourth one would be like, you have to film it with a phone. You can't use a nice camera. And it was a ton of fun doing that. I wish they were still doing The Germ so that I could use an iPhone 15 with Apple Log on one of those competitions again. I know there are other mobile filmmaking competitions out there. That one was my friends put it together, and it was local and it was fun, but maybe I should look into others as well. Using the Fig Rig was a lot of fun. I think that really helped with the stabilization of the phone camera. I kind of wish I had put the C70 on the Fig Rig and then mounted the phone above it so then I could have filmed the same thing at the same time, but I just didn't have the right pieces to rig it out right now, and I wanted to really get on this comparison. Thank you to my cousin Matt for letting us film there. Thank you to my family for putting up with the time it took to do this on top of already, traveling and getting our eyes checked, doing all of our appointments and visiting with family, and then doing this on top of that. The Neewer cage was pretty cool, but I noticed that I've already like bent it. I bent it out of shape a little bit. So, I mean, I should be able to just bend it back into place, but if you're looking for a high quality phone cage, this might not be it. This one is very affordable, but I've noticed just like I kept it mounted on the Fig Rig and I traveled with it that way, but I didn't have my phone in it. And I think just from being jostled around in the car, in the van, it got a little bent out of shape. And I think I've mostly bent it back into shape. But I remember when I was first putting my phone in it after getting there, like it was a little misaligned, and I'm like, that's not the way it was when I first got it and set it up and did my initial tests, and then the first half of this video. So I don't know exactly what happened, but I think it's in pretty good shape right now. But yeah, I like this. Like I couldn't slide my phone in straight, and then this wasn't aligned, so I just had to like bend it. So it is aluminum. It's a pretty soft metal. But yeah, I do like being able to put any of my filters on my phone. This was pretty cool. Even though it is a tiny bit open on the bottom, I think this does a really good job of giving me options for filtration for my iPhone. I do wish it didn't interfere with the MagSafe thing, because I would love to be able to put this SSD with the MagSafe, and I guess I could take this off and use the other one or restick it and align it so that it does fit better. But even if I had the Condor Blue, they now partnered with Angelbird to make a MagSafe mount that I can put SD cards or CF Express Type B cards, which I think is really cool. Like, I don't think that's going to work with this cage with the filtration adapter. So that is a little bit of a bummer. Anyway, that's it. Leave a comment on what you think on the side-by-side comparison. Which did you like better, the C70 or the iPhone 15 Pro Max? If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I'm going to rest because my voice isn't back 100% yet, and I will see you next time. Peace.